comprehensions of the relationship between gender, cinema, and changing society. Now we will hear an audio about Dr. Uma Vangal Shivakumar, ma'am.
வெற்றிமாறன் அவர்களால் உருவாக்கப்பட்ட இன்டர்நேஷனல் இன்ஸ்டிடியூட் ஆஃப் ஃபில்ம் அண்ட் கல்ச்சரில் டீன் ஆஃப் ரிசர்ச் ஆக பணியாற்றுபவர். ஓஹியோவில் உள்ள கென்யான் கல்லூரியில் கௌரவ பேராசிரியராக திரைப்பாடம் போதிக்கிறார். ஏஷியன் காலேஜ் ஆஃப் ஜேர்னலிசத்தில் அட்ஜன்ட் ஃபேக்கல்ட்டியாக பணியாற்றுகிறார். திரைப்பிரிவில் தனது முனைவர் படிப்பை நிகழ்த்தியவர். நற்பணியாளர். மீரா தொண்டு அமைப்பை நிறுவியவர். பெண் குழந்தைகள் பெண்களின் வாழ்வில் வளம் பெற எல்லா வகையிலும் செயல்களால் முன்னிற்பவர். திரைப்பட இயக்குனர், கியூரேட்டர், பெண்கள் சார்ந்து களப்பணி செய்யும் போராளி, எழுத்தாளர் என இன்னும் உண்டு சொல்ல. ஐ ஆம் அ கூ, ஷீ இஸ் லீலா இவர் இயக்கிய படைப்பில் ஒன்று. இன்னும் நிறைய படைப்புகளுக்கு தயாராகின்ற இவரை இருகரம் ஒழிக்க வாங்க என்று அழைக்கிறோம். இன்றைய மதிய வேளை சிறப்பு விருந்தினர் முனைவர் உமா வாங்கல் அவர்களை காட்சித் தொழில்நுட்ப துறை சார்பாக அன்புடன் வரவேற்கிறோம்.
Thank you. I don't know about singer pen and all that, but if I have to hold up one recent female character and tell you this is not what we want to see, it's in that particular song sequence. What they do in that film, as they call them singer penne, but they need this man. And the woman character in that film, women characters, multiple of them, yes, but the lady superstar plays a role in that film. What is her name in that? What is her job? Does she do anything that a physiotherapist does in the film? Nothing, right? No, that's our problem. And then when he's trying to motivate the girls, what does he tell her? The girl who's the goalkeeper? Classic case of body shaming, classic case of gaslighting. Everything that we women have been talking about and fighting for, in this film they claim it's a women's film. Who's the director? All these fellows know they need a slap. Because they are taking over. This is what I meant. They are appropriating and saying, oh, my film is a feminist film. It's a woman-centric film where the women have nothing to do except just listen to the man. And so this is our problem at a very deep level. This is our problem with the kind of narratives that they are shaping in contemporary Tamil cinema. Interestingly, if you go back in time and see the earlier films, T.P. Rajalakshmi, T.R. Rajakumari, M.S. Subbulakshmi, you will find very empowered women characters in Tamil cinema. Very progressive, very independent, very assertive. So when you actually apply all these parameters for understanding female representation on screen, you will find that Tamil cinema mattum illa. Yaro sonnanga Hollywood nu. Every film industry in this world will fail the Bechdel test straight away. Almost all the big films, they will fail the Bechdel test. So we have this issue with mainstream cinema. But we also have, of course, we have hope. Otherwise, there is no life, no? We give up so quickly. We've been fighting for centuries. So, yeah, just a quick backdrop. See, we have so many firsts that we have to celebrate. Priya ma'am already mentioned, right? Alice Guy Blanchet. And that was her first film in 1896. She's also the first narrative filmmaker in the entire world, which they will not talk so much about. They will just say she made a film, first female director. But how about crediting her with the first narrative film and not George Melis? So this has been happening. Her story gets submerged. But we have a lot of firsts that we can celebrate and aspire to. So several firsts that we can live up to. The second is T.P. Rajalakshmi in our own context, right? In 1911, imagine 1936, she makes Miss Kamala. Against all odds, she produces, writes, directs, edits, does the music, sings, acts, everything. Much before Bhanumati. And of course, Bhanumati later comes up on the scene. Anjali Devi again as a producer. So it's interesting that when they're producers, the women also call the shots on a lot of departments in that film. So Anjali Devi comes up and she produces about quite a lot of films. In Tamil only 7, I think, 7 or 8, but in Telugu several more. And then you have Bhanumati Ramakrishna. She is one woman that many of us really look up to because she inspired an entire generation of women because she was known as the Ashtavadani of films. What the title today we refer to TRR. Yeah? But she was the first Ashtavadani of Indian cinema in many ways, and she did everything. Song composition, singing, acting, directing, editing, camera, literally all the departments she has handled, costume, production, everything. And then we had Savitri, who we all celebrate more for her acting, but she was also a producer. So one of the pioneering producers of Tamil cinema. Didn't do too well though as a producer, and of course we all know the consequence of her loss of control over the financial situation. We've seen it in the film. Then you have Vijay Nirmala, so rarely spoken about. In the entire world, she is the most prolific woman filmmaker. 44 films. It's a huge achievement. Of course, most of them were in Telugu, some in Tamil. But what is interesting for us is when a lot of people will tell you, oh, there are not that many women, not many women's voices. Here's the slide that does not comprehensively cover all the names. But you can see in terms of the way they've all, those are the old ones, right? Anjali Devi, Bhanumati. But following in her footsteps, you have several producers. Shobha Chandrasekhar, Radhika, Khushbu, Soundarya, Hema Rukmini in Tenandal, and Archana Kalpati in Kalpati Films, whatever, and Kavita Pandian, who comes into AGS. Now these are all producers. But there's this general misconception that more women come into the industry, more women are directors, more women are producers, we will have more women's stories being told. But Archana Kalpati's film is the film we just discussed. Yeah? So there's a little bit of an anomaly over there. People imagine that the more women come into the film industry or media, women's voices will be heard, women's perspectives will be presented, but it's not necessarily so. So what does that mean? What Sir was telling you. It doesn't take a woman. And I think interestingly someone pointed it out there, one of the professors. She said, why does it only have to be a woman to project a woman's perspective, right? So you're a feminist men filmmaker, somebody said. Yes. So do we really want only women to speak women's stories? And as Priya was pointing out, and Sudha has famously said this, that why should I be slaughtered and said I have to make only women's subjects? I want to make only male subjects. So because she was a student, I took the liberty of asking her, why don't you do films on women's issues? And she was like, ma'am, but why? I want to tell men's stories. If men can tell women's stories, why can't women tell men's stories? And that is what we need to start re-looking at and saying who really has to talk, who really tells women's stories, where does the female gaze emerge from, is it only from a woman? So all these basic questions that we are all trying to grapple with, and it will continue to be with us as we go along, not just today, but so you can see that there are a lot of women here and a lot of young women who have now come into the picture. So you have tons of women's voices out there. But why is it that we didn't find too many examples when we were looking? Even for your unconventional examples, a lot of them were not made by these women. And several of the films failed the Bechdel test. As you saw in Professor's presentation, where you saw even Indira fails the Bechdel test. And we see Indira as an empowering female film, but then we had issues with it because it didn't have the basic requirement of the Bechdel test requirement, right? So we have a whole lot of voices out there. It's not that we don't. So what are our challenges right now? Yeah? The first, of course, straight off, as in any other field, this is the other issue. Because films are soft targets, film industry is a soft target, they'll tell you, oh, there's lots of workplace discrimination, harassment, sexual harassment happening only in the film industry. And the field ke pogadinga nu solliruvanga. Film institutes la biggest issue, we are not able to attract women students. Vetrimaran says, I want more women, ma'am, at least equal number venu. Girls' parents are not willing to send them. See, edukku therinju and kulila poi vidano vena, ma'am. This is the attitude, right? But the fact is that that workplace discrimination or sexual harassment exists around us from womb to tomb. It is not restricted to the film industry. So it's not a challenge, it's not a difficulty. More than that, you see it as a challenge and say, well, how am I going to negotiate this, right? The second issue is censorship and outdated laws that we still have. The minute you have a film that will express some female sexuality, or a film that takes on some issue that is very taboo or sensitive. So if you remember, Fire was banned in India. So the minute you take on something like that, the censor board comes into action. And they will tell you, no, this is not meant for women audiences. This is not meant for the general audience. So please don't make these kind of films. Delete these scenes. So women face that as a big challenge when they want to tell certain stories, simply because we've been socialized to think these are not subjects women can speak about. They shouldn't even tackle such subjects, at least not in public, not in the public domain. So we have these challenges. Then, of course, extensive understanding from the morning's presentation on stereotyping and what are the possible stereotypes, archetypes that we deal with regularly, not just in female representation, but generally in character development, but definitely more so when it comes to female representation. Sexism, misogyny, people use these words. I know one gentleman over there spoke about how even if I have good intentions as a man, and I want to write female characters with sensitivity, I end up somewhere exposing my misogyny or my sexist approach. It's something that is unavoidable. As writers, creators, artists, all of us are shaped by the environment we are growing up in. What are the kind of socialization that's happening? What are our educational institutions teaching us? What do films teach us? What does the media around us do? So we reflect that to a large extent. And so misogyny and sexism is part of the DNA of this space that we all inhabit in Tamil cinema. It's not something that you can just pluck and throw out. It's there, it's part of us. So we got to find ways to minimize the misogyny and sexism. So it seems like we are asking for very little, but that's how it starts, with very little, a small step, right? The worst of this is, இந்த பொம்பளைங்களுக்கு வேறு வேலை இல்லைப்பா இப்படி தான் பேசுவாங்க. Yeah? That attitude of skepticism, the minute we open up and we say something boldly, there'll be at least 100 people who will say, இந்த பொம்பளைங்களுக்கு வேறு வேலை கிடையாது. How many of us have faced that when we've tried to raise a point, right? In our real lives, and obviously even in cinema, same thing, in the film industry. The minute we go to pitch stories, Priya would have faced this many, many times. They'll always tell you, in the subject, வேலைக்காகாதுமா வேணாமா, don't want. Market, no, it won't work. Audience will not like. like you said. We decide beforehand. No, audience will not be able to take this film, right? And invisibilization, meaning so many more stories that are out there that we are not able to bring to the screen for various reasons. And so invisible stories just falling by the wayside. And we are not able to even think of those. The biggest issue we face, the biggest challenge we face today is lack of screens and distributors who will pick up films made on women-centric stories or powerful women characters, unless it helps their cause. So if you have Karthik Subburaj making an Iraivi, it is because it's a nice label for a man to have as a marketing point. That it's Iraivi, I don't call it anything else, it's a feminist film. Was there even a single frame that was feminist in that film? No. And I can say this Dhairima. Priya may not say these things because, well, she has to work in that space, so it's fine, you know, she doesn't have to. It's our job as academics and researchers to question these things, right? To draw attention to these things. So, where did we go? Yeah. So the lack of screens and bold distributors who will say, chalo, I'll take this risk. So that risk taking on the part of the industry commercial angle of it is a big issue, challenge for us. I just made a quick reference to some of the theories because Sir spoke extensively about the Bechdel test. But there are many, many more tests like this that we run on any film with any woman character to see where does it stand in female representation, right? So the second test, every Tamil film will pass that with flying colors. Yeah, the sexy lamp test. You pull out that woman character and put a sexy lamp there, and the story will have, continue, it will have its own story value. Yeah, it's a fact. In many, many films, she's just there as a prop. She's arm candy, so it will just carry on. It doesn't matter. The story has no, it will not be impacted if you move out that woman character from that story. Yeah? Similarly, you have something called the Marco Mori test, where the women have to have a distinctive character arc, which very few films will pass. And then, of course, the Furiosa test. Now, this is the other extreme. Somebody was talking about why are we showing negative, why are we showing grey. The Furiosa test is where women become angry and they become avenging angels. They have to be monsters. Monster is feminine. Yeah? All of that. So either she has to be, so we swing, there's a pendulum, right? We swing between reverence and rape. We swing between deification and demonization. There's no getting away from these for many people. Toriel is what I was talking about, Angel's character. Does the woman have a job? And if so, is she good at her job? And do we get to see that on screen? In many, many films, we have this issue. I'll show you a clip for this. And then you have the Willis test. And then the last one is something I have created as a new theoretical framework for analysis, which a lot of scholars have started using now. So I call it the Fitness test. And it's called the Female Intensity Non-Male Utility Culture Sensitivity test. And that's where the young lady out there, what she brought up, when you say culture sensitivity, then we take cognizance of the fact that this is a Dalit character. This is a communist character. This is an Ambedkarite character. So how many of you saw Pariyerum Peruman? What did you think of the film? From a Dalit perspective, what did you think of the film? Go ahead, tell us whatever you felt, tell me. Anyone can tell me. What did you understand about the Dalit perspective in that film? Can somebody give the young lady a mic? Michael, yeah. You have to switch it on. You can be loud, no? Let's see if we can hear you.
Maybe not in a very prominent way, but it was subtle, and we could understand what they are trying to tell. It echoed their voices is what I wanted to tell.
I'm talking about the woman's character.
women's character, yeah, they brought it up. See, while we are making a movie that is about caste and barriers, we can't show that there are only bad people in a particular place. So we want to add there are good people. That's what I felt.
So the
That's
girl
what-
was supposed to be the good person.
yeah, the girl was supposed to. They wanted to show her as a very innocent person who doesn't understand these politics or these tactics. That's what I think he meant. I'm not very sure. That's what I
I
interpreted.
don't
from
think
that.
he meant it, but that's what comes through.
Yeah, that's what I
She
interpreted.
comes
from
across
that.
as really stupid, not innocent, right?
Yeah.
You're studying in law college. How can you be clueless about the caste dynamics in a law college, let alone a normal college? I mean, if it's a normal college itself, we have all these issues, right? Yes. Because the first thing you enter in your admission application is your caste.
Correct.
So how can she be so ignorant of those politics? And her cousin is vociferously pushing that narrative. This boy's cohorts are also doing the same thing. She's so clueless that she'll invite him for the wedding alone. Is that even believable? Forget the story and all of that stuff. So what is that woman's character doing there? Not even a bridge. She has no agency. She has no independent thinking. Nothing. Right? So this is our issue. Even in a Dalit story, why do you want to remove her caste identity from her? It's like sanitizing, invisibilization of the woman Dalit story. Yeah? But yeah, maybe because it's a first step and his focus is more on telling the Dalit narrative, he's not so focused on the woman. Okay, given, granted. Then he does Nakshatram Nagargiradu, right?
No, he does. Nakshatram Nagaragiradu is.
Yeah, yeah. Mari Selvaraj, Pa Ranjit, producer over there,
Yeah.
Neelam. Yeah, okay. Connections are there. Yes, go ahead.
பர்பஸ்ஃபுல்லி தான் அந்த மாதிரி வச்சிருக்காரு
Ah.
பிகாஸ் காஸ்ட் அப்படின்றது ஒரு உளவியல் சார்ந்த பிரச்சனை. அது திருமண முறை அப்படின்னு வரும்போது திருமணத்துக்குள்ள வரும்பொழுது மட்டும்தான் அது வெளிப்படுது. இயல்பாகவே பெண்ணுக்கு தன்னுடைய இணையை தேர்ந்தெடுக்கிறதுக்கான உரிமை இந்த சமூகம் கொடுத்து வைக்கல, கொடுக்கல. அதை தாண்டி ஒரு பொண்ணு சூஸ் பண்றாங்க அப்படின்னா அதில் 1008 கண்டிஷன்ஸ் இருக்கு.
இன்னும் அவ்வளவு தூரத்துக்கே போலியே.
எஸ் மேம்.
அவ
அது போல
choose பண்ண இன்னும் ஃபுல்லா போலியே. She's just making friends with this guy.
தலித் விமன் அவங்கள சுத்தி நடக்கிற பிரச்சனைகளையும் இயல்பாகவே அவங்க தலித்தா இருக்கிறதுனாலையும் தலித் பெண்ணா இருக்கிறதுனாலையும் அந்த பேட்ரியார்கி ஒரு முப்பரிமாண முறையில தலித் பெண்ணை ஒடுக்குது. வர்க்க ரீதியாகவும் ஒடுக்குது, சாதிய ரீதியாகவும் ஒடுக்குது,
அதெல்லாம் ஏன்
பாலின
நமக்கு காட்ட மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க?
பாலின ரீதியாகவும் ஒடுக்குது. இந்த இடத்துல ரத்த கலப்பு நடக்காதனால தான் அகமண முறை திரும்ப திரும்ப இந்த தமிழ் சமூகத்துல இந்திய சமூகத்துல
ரொம்ப
நடந்துட்டே
தூரம்
இருக்கறனால
போயிட்டமா ரத்த கலப்புல.
எஸ் மேம், லெட் மீ கம்ப்ளீட். அது போறதுனால தான் வந்து இங்க இன்டர்காஸ்ட் மேரேஜ் நடக்கிறதுக்கு இவ்வளவு பெரிய பிரச்சனை. இது காதலா இல்ல திருமண உறவா இல்ல என்னன்னே தெரியறதுக்கு முன்னாடி எனக்கு இங்க ஒரு பேரிகேட் வச்சிருக்கீங்க. அப்போ நான் ஒரு தலித் உமனை தன்னை சுத்தி நடக்கிற பிரச்சனையை எந்நேரமும் விழிப்போடு இருக்கிற ஒரு பெண்ணை நான் கையாளணும்னா எனக்கு கூடுதலான பொறுப்புணர்வு தேவை. ஆனால் நான் பஸ்ஸில் பார்க்குற பொண்ணு இல்லை நான் காலேஜில் பார்க்குற பொண்ணு பக்கத்து வீட்டில் பார்க்குற பொண்ணுங்களாம் அவ்வளோ அவேராக இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. அவங்க அப்படி தான் அவங்க வீட்டில் வளர்க்கப்படுறாங்க. பர்பஸ்ஃபுல்லி அவங்க குடும்பங்கள் அந்த பெண்ணை அப்படி தான் ஒரு உற்பத்தி பொருளாக தான் பார்க்கறதுனால அது அப்படியே பிரதிபலிச்சிருப்பார் திரைப்படத்தில்.
Okay, so when he's making Karnan, what is stopping him?
கர்ணன்லாம் அவங்க தலித் உமன் மேம்.
She's a Dalit woman, but what is her role really?
Yeah.
Think about it. We'll talk about it. Hold on to that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's not moving further. Yeah. Look at the number of issues we could actually focus on, right? As women filmmakers, let alone women, but as filmmakers, there are tons and tons of issues. And we keep talking about women and men. We are constantly polarizing the conversation about, do men have the right to talk about women? Do women have the right to make other films? What are we really talking about? Ultimately, we are talking about a lack of sensitivity to gender. It doesn't matter male, female. Yeah? So what we need is gender sensitization, gender sensitivity as an audience, right? Look at the number of things. Only this issue, yeah, maybe only purely women's issues that I've put there. The rest of it is all problems for all of us, social issues that we are all coping with, right? In that we bring layers, we bring different distinctions, we bring caste dynamics, we bring politics, we bring ideology. Sir Sonamari, post 1969, it opens up this whole conversation through education and through empowerment through cinema is opening up. We are allowed to talk about everything. We are the first rationalist society in this whole subcontinent, Tamil Nadu. Correct? Where are we going as rationalists? What have we lost? Why are we trying to say, oh no, I can't talk about this, I can only talk about this, right? So there's an issue, there's an inbuilt issue. Parashakti fails the Bechdel test. In spite of being written by a man who was influenced by communism, who was influenced by Stalinist Russian usage of films for propaganda, and that's why Parashakti is made as a political propaganda vehicle. And yet, the woman is invisible in the film. It's Kalyani's story, but it becomes whose story at the end? Gunashekhar's story, right? So we need to start re-looking at all of these conversations, and not just from today. It's been happening from day one, even though there were good intentions, but there were opportunities and platforms being provided, and yet we are regressing further. If you see old films, they are not so bad. You look at them now, there's more regression now, in the name of feminist film. And that is where our problem is. That is where we worry so much about the next generation and what they're being exposed to, right? The words they use to describe films made by women on women's issues, they'll say chick flicks. Yeah, look at the derogatory way that they see any film or any media material that's catering to supposedly female audiences. Automatically it means what? Superficial, just entertainment, just time pass, nothing else, no brain. And what are we doing? We're reinforcing that by constantly showing women in these ways on screen also. I have huge problems with Mr. Maniratnam's woman. She's supposed to be the modern woman, yeah? And she does all these provocative things. She'll ask these questions, are you a virgin? Whatever, all of that stuff. But ultimately she brings no value to the story, yeah? She is not loose ponne, but she's a little higher in terms of social positioning, that's all. But she's equally dispensable. So we have issues with all of these. They're not rooted. They're not culturally rooted. And that is where our problem arises. And then when along comes Amir with Parithiviran, we are saying, oh wow, okay, finally we have filmmakers who are rooted in the soil and who are going to give us women who are, Tamil women are Singapens, right? We don't see them though on screen. They're always punished for being Singapens. At the end of the film, they are the ones who will face the punishment for whatever the man did also. In Parithiviran, she's paying the price for what he did, not for what she did. Correct? Where's the poetic justice in that? So where are we going? Even our so-called rooted new age filmmakers don't seem to want to show the reality of Tamil women and our lived realities, right? So this is our problem. Second, they'll tell you women are not assertive. If they really want to tell a story, they can go convince a producer and distributor and get the story told. No, not so simple. Anybody has issues trying to convince producers and distributors unless they have marketable elements in their film. And what that marketable element, nobody knows. Yeah, there is no formula, there is no success route, nothing. So why do we only pick on women? And then we heard in the morning, Mr. Secretary told us, why are they so aggressive? Akroshama ஏன் சொல்றாங்க? மூலமா பேசினா கேட்பாங்களா? We have this problem, right? When you want to be heard, you have to shout. And why only women are being picked on? Tamil cinema shouts. Tamil cinema attacks. Tamil cinema is an aggressive form of storytelling. Whoever is in the saddle, whatever the story, yeah, male-centric, female-centric, doesn't matter. We are a very loud society. We are a very war-mongering society. We love to argue, we love to debate, we love to fight. So we have to fight. There is no choice. If we want to make films and make an impact and reach people, we have to be loud, we have to be aggressive. So why only women are picked on and said, why are you being so aggressive? Because it's not a feminine quality. And who decides that? As to what beauty is, what is femininity, all of this, who's deciding this, right? These are questions you have to ask. I'm not giving you stories, I'm not giving you all of this. I'm giving you questions that you have to start asking from now on, right? No significant difference, like I said. Men, women, doesn't matter. Whoever's telling the story, there will be flawed characters. There have to be flawed characters because none of us are perfect. And that is the journey. Which is why when she points out Iruthi Sutru, when she points out Surarai Potru, I have a lot of issues with Surarai Potru, the woman character. But yet, we need to make these small steps. They have to be flawed. It doesn't matter. They can be flawed. But at least we tell it with sensitivity. That sensitivity is what is lacking in films that men make on women's issues or women characters, because they do not truly walk in our shoes. That is the problem with Mr. Balachandran. Yeah? He does a lot of so-called women-centric films, but a lot of them fall into the patriarchal zone at the end of it, including Suhasini in Sindhu Bhairavi. Or Kalki, don't even ask me about that film. I'm surprised that passed the Bechdel test, because the entire story premise is only about having a baby with this man. Why not a baby with someone else? No, it has to be this horrible man. The wife couldn't do it, so this girl does it. How stupid is that? Correct? Why would you want to have a baby with this horrible man? And go out of your way to have that baby and give it to the wife to fulfill her desire to have his baby. I don't even understand. No woman thinks like this. I can tell you this. Right? So we have a lot of issues with these kinds of things. The problem is also that men become very self-conscious when they write women characters, because they're terrified of people like me sitting here and saying, how can you write a woman like this? You have no business writing women's characters like this. Women are terrified when they have to write male characters, often because the audience is like, no, I cannot accept this. I don't want men to be like this this is not okay. Like we said, the morning, all of you clapped when the man spoke. None of you clapped when the woman spoke. Correct? Because there's still that resistance. We don't want to accept it. So this is a problem. We have to become very self-conscious when we write. And that takes away from the power of the story or the emotional component, because you're becoming too self-conscious. You're overthinking your characters as you write them. So this is a problem for us. And they always think women have to make only serious subjects. They cannot, like Priya pointed out, they can't do comedy. They can't do a man's story very well. So that disproves it with Surarai Potru, yes. There are other issues about Surarai Potru. Those are other conversations we have, and that's the thing. Who says we can't criticize women filmmakers? Of course we can. It's not a true biopic, but it is pretending to be a biopic. So many things. It's based on a real person's life. She's changed the entire contours of that real person's life and put it into a Dalit spectrum so that she gets the market response. Fair enough. If the men can do it, if the men deliberately create women characters in a Dalit community as innocent so that they can tell this Dalit story, why can't she appropriate a Brahmin story and make it into a Dalit story? Yeah? So questions will always be asked of all creators. It's up to us how we reflect what we all are back at the audience. Ultimately, it's what we are that is on that screen. It's just in different forms, right? Of course, we have stereotypes. Of course, repetition, unavoidable. Cinema is all about repetition. It looks like we didn't speak to each other, but we have common points. What he said, the imago, repetition, it comes up every now and then. You suppress it, all the more it will come back ferociously after a few decades. You told women you can't tell the story, so now ஆக்ரோஷமா வந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. That is why I'm saying, இந்த தருணத்தில் நீங்கள் வராதீங்க ட்ரான்சிஷன் சொல்லிட்டு எங்கள் கதையை நீங்கள் எடுக்காதீங்க. So it's a constant battle and struggle between all of us, right? And ultimately the limited range of cinema is that you can't really tell the reality. யாரும் பார்க்க மாட்டாங்க. If we show the reality, nobody will see it. Correct? It's a frightening reality out there that we live in today. If we bring in all the various levels of socialization, psychological oppression, communal tensions, political polarization, if we start bringing in all of that, the reality is impossible to look at. And filmmakers have to grapple with all of this. So is it all very bleak? Is it very hopeless? No, of course not. Life is nothing if we don't hope, if we don't have some positive things coming out of it. The fact is that today, not just women, but generally films are moving in the right direction because it's content driven. Audiences in Tamil Nadu are media literate. We are film literate. We do not accept a film just because some big name made it. We do not accept a film just because Rajnikant acted in it. Not anymore. Right? We are capable of discerning. We are a very discerning audience who can actually accept a film because it's good, it is well made, it has a wonderful storyline. I can align myself with these characters and their journeys. And so audiences are also on our side, like I said, film literate audience, especially post-COVID, because we've been exposed to world cinema right here. On our laptops, on our phones, we are able to watch good cinema from across the world, right? Today, that is where we are. So in a way, content-driven makes it very interesting for us. Lot of women producers coming in. Hopefully, somewhere they will slowly. They're also just beginning. These are all very young women producers who have to fight the men in their families to be where they are today. And then slowly, maybe they will bring in women's stories. We don't know. We'll hope. Annapurni, I wanted to bring up as a point in case, right? Here's this one woman producer, lady superstar, whatever you want to call her. She decides, okay, chalo, I'm going to tell this story. An aspirational story, as interesting as Surare Potre, in some ways. Who says a chef's journey is not as interesting as an entrepreneur's journey? Same, right? We're all having struggles. But for the first time in Netflix history, we pulled a film off the platform simply because it offended the sentiments of some group somewhere. We live in a space today where everybody takes offense at everything. There's no subject you can touch without one group saying, I object to this subject, this scene, this issue, the way you've shown it, whatever. So today we are always constantly battling that. So we have gender-based storytelling, yes, but what we need is this, a gender-sensitized society. And why are we putting that burden on filmmakers? Yeah? Because it's a societal issue. At the heart of all our conversations is the fact that as a society we are misogynistic, as a society we are patriarchal, as a culture we are sexist, as a culture we are intolerant of views that are not echoing our own views. And so we have an issue. We have an issue that has to be tackled at a larger level, larger scale, rather than just in the film industry. The film industry ultimately reflects what is happening around. And if we as a society change, the film industry will also change. It's a long journey, not today, but it's just one of the points. What is really heartening for us is the diverse content that the OTT platforms allow. Yeah? We don't need only hero-centric storytelling, first of all, which is a huge plus. You can tackle so many different subjects. So when you see a series like, it started with Jyotika's Ponmagal Vandal being released online. I think it was the first woman-centric Tamil film that was streamed online, released online, in fact. Yeah? Good, bad, adala vera. But at least it started the trend. And then from there on, you have Nayanthara's Netikan, Aishwarya Rajesh, all of them making an impact. Trisha tried, but I didn't find it too good. But what is interesting is the clash between Talavi and Queen, and I think Queen won hands down. How many of you saw both? What is Talavi? What is Queen? Both are based on Jayalalitha's life, right? But Queen definitely scored. Why? Because the OTT platform gave them more scope to explore the various dimensions of that journey, as opposed to Talavi. And of course, casting, a lot of other issues also. But the idea that we have this now, we have this powerful tool, we have the OTT platform where first they're open to diverse content, they're open to subjects that are previously taboo, and now we also can explore it at length. Hopefully, if we get some funding. I see the future as, I would really wish to have something. The last point that I've put in that PPT is what I would dream for Tamil cinema. That we have exclusive screens only for women-centric cinema. We did it in film festivals. We do it in film festivals. We have one screening only for women. Or then we say one entire women's film festival, which we curated for 5 years in Chennai. But then that's very limiting. What if we can get all our multiplexes to say one screen is exclusively for women-centric films? Then what happens? There is incentive for filmmakers to make women's stories because there is a ready avenue for screening. That's a wish. Hopefully it will come true. But yes, we are seeing footprints being placed across the globe today by women filmmakers from Tamil cinema, which is, I think, a very positive thing for us. So you have Lena Manimeghalai's Madatti, an unfairy tale, doing amazing, having a very good impact across the world to start the conversations about Dalit, about invisibilization of Dalit women narratives. So it's a very important film in many ways. We never get to see it, unfortunately, and that is the tragedy, that these films only go to festivals, they don't come to the screens. So we need a screen for that. We also have Priya Krishnaswamy and Madhumita making 2 films on the same issue of Talekuttal. Yeah, same topic, but the approaches were different, and Priya made it more like a documentary, whereas Madhumita headed straight into a very, very wonderful, nostalgic trip of an old man. Because who says you have to only do about a woman? Let's do it about a man, right? And then, of course, Kartiki Gonzalez and her Elephant Whisperers, based in Kunur, in the Nilgiris, becomes an Oscar winner. Yeah? And right now also we have several contenders from Tamil Nadu. And Divya Bharati making classic example of Imago, where long back, Amudan made P. Today she's made her own version of P. Because while Amudan told the story, it was about women scavengers. She's making it as a woman. So there's a difference in the way the story is told, right? So these 2 films give us a lot of hope because they've gone out of this country. But I certainly want to show one clipping just to tell you what I mean when I say we fight for basics and we are still not there. I'm just hoping this is the clip. There's someone there with a raised hand.
அதிகமாக ஆசைப்படுற ஆம்பளையும் அதிகமாக கோவப்படுற பொண்ணு நல்லா வந்ததா சரித்திரமே இல்லைன்னு.
அது கடைசி வார்த்தைமா,
இல்லை
வரி கடைசி வரி. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி என்ன சொன்னாரு? அவ்வளோதான் சொன்னாரா? No, I want to find. I'm sure there's one person who has the whole dialogue. I usually have at least 10 volunteers and all of them will tell the dialogue.
பொம்பளைனா அடக்கம் இருக்கணும், அகம்பாவம் இருக்கக்கூடாது, பொறுமை இருக்கணும், போக்கிரித்தனம் இருக்கக்கூடாது. And the one he told, பஜாரித்தனம் பண்ணக்கூடாது. And what was that? That.
எத்தனை பொம்பளைங்க இதை ஞாபகம் வச்சுட்டு இருக்காங்க பாருங்க.
பொறுமை வேணும், அவசரப்படக்கூடாது.
Whole day of talking about shaping narratives. You see where the problem is?
அதிகமா ஆசைப்படுற ஆம்பளையும் அதிகமா கோபப்படுற பொம்பளையும் நல்லா வாழ்ந்ததா சரித்திரமே கிடையாது.
You understand where the problem lies? With you. Not with the film industry, not with the filmmakers, male or female. எத்தனை வருஷம் இந்த படம் எப்போ வந்தது? எத்தனை பேர் அப்போ பிறந்திருக்கீங்க? How many of you are born before 95? Raise your hands please. Can you see the impact? This film was made in 94. 94 sir? 99. Okay, millennial, just at the turn of the century. Okay. Can you imagine how much impact it has that you still remember snippets of it, and what you took from it? The men took one line. Adigama? Adigama? சரித்திரமே இல்லை. அது மட்டும் ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கிட்டாங்க ஆம்பளைங்க. பொம்பளை பசங்க பாரு, வாட் ஆல் தே ரிமெம்பர்ட்? அடக்கமாக இருக்கணும், பஜாரித்தனம் பண்ணக்கூடாது. யூ அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் ஹவு திஸ் ஒர்க்ஸ்? It goes so deep, the socialization. You don't need men as enemies. You don't need women to tell where men are the, misogynist, men are the sexist, men are patriarchal, they are the ones who are doing all this. And I don't want to play the old talk that women are women's enemies. No. I mean the cultural conditioning and socialization is our enemy. That is what we need to fight. Yeah? So for instance, just to demonstrate now that I have this, I should be able to. No, I'm looking for a particular clip. That's what you meant. Okay. Full screen. Well, I don't want to full screen. Going backward. Okay. Oh, now I got the order. One last clip and then we'll stop the conversation. We'll open it up for questions. Just to show Of the hero of the film. What is Kalpana's role in the film? What is she in the film? Model, aspiring actress, and no, pav, illa. She's supposed to be an activist. She saves young girls from being trafficked. So she's an activist at some level. Aspiring activist ne vechikalam. Okay, socially responsible. Great. That's why her death has to be avenged by the hero. She is the base of that film. If she is not there, illa nanekrom, illaya? See how she is introduced in the film. Want to see her body, she's drawing her attention to her face also. Finally, just look up at my face. But she has to do it through her body. So the male gaze is something so inbuilt again. So it's very hard to get away from it. And this is a new film in the sense of these are young filmmakers who are making films. It has not changed with Iravi. It has not changed with Aruvi. Somebody mentioned Aruvi. Arun will hide the minute he sees me, he'll hide. He'll say, "Ma'am, ninga irkinga enak theriyadhu." Loyola Viscom student. You feel great when something like Sudha happens because she's a student and you say, wow, something I've taught that has gone there. And then you see Aruvi and you're like, Arun, what was those 3 years? Waste. Yeah? Because he had good intentions. He made the film. He spoke about women. He spoke about it as a feminist film. But when you watch the film, she's a clueless Lusupanna of Tamil cinema. That's all. That's all. Nothing. No value to that story when you actually break it down. There is nothing. She has no clue what she wants out of life. At the end of it, that male AD will fulfill her dream. Even to bring her family to her, it is a male AD's job, not hers. Yeah? So now tell me, what do you think is the solution? Where do we need to go to shape narratives of women in Tamil cinema? You tell us. It's your turn. We are done. All the speakers are here. Shall we ask them all to come up? Yeah. Vang sir, come.
I request all. I request everyone to come up on the stage.
Yeah, maybe for a photo at the end. No, I'm done. I've taken it out. Thank you.
Around cinema, also for conveying the future trends that gave us an insight about the viewers too. As we approach the culmination of our seminar, we will engage in a stimulating discussion reflecting on the insights shared throughout the day. If anyone has any kind of questions to ask, you can please engage.
Hello. Check.
Participants,
உங்களுக்கு இதை பற்றி காலையிலேருந்து நடந்த செஷன்ஸ் பற்றி உங்களுக்கு கேள்விகள், சந்தேகங்கள், இல்லை உங்கள் கருத்துகள் எதாக இருந்தாலும் இப்போ ஃபோரமில் நீங்கள் ஷேர் பண்ணலாம், கேள்வி கேட்கலாம், இல்லை இது என்னோட பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ்னு சொல்லலாம், இல்லை உங்கள் மனசில் இது தோணுதுன்னு உங்களோட எண்ணத்தை பதிவு பண்ணலாம். ஸோ த ஃபோரம் இஸ் யோர்ஸ்.
They can also counter anything that we
Yes, yes, yes. Sure.
Somebody's raising their hands. Hands are going up. If you want to be able to see that.
My question is based on what we just. Time immemorial, movies, epics, stories that have sexist content in it have always been entertaining, right? When you screen the clip of Padayappa, even though I know that it's a very problematic movie, I wouldn't mind sitting and watching through the rest of the movie, right? So that, I mean, can we, sexist media with sexism is never going to stop being entertaining, right? That's the issue, isn't it?
I think it's the mindset. You have been told that this is entertaining. I actually find that whole film completely disgusting. It is the most disgusting film. And I don't care if it is superstar. I love him, but he doesn't take a stand for women. So it is basically what you think, what you've been conditioned to think, that people laughed, that this is entertainment. So you got to break those shackles and you got to change the mindset. This is what I genuinely and humbly believe.
Similarly, I want to add, அவங்க சொல்கிறது கூட கொஞ்சம் சேர்க்கணும். என்டர்டைன்மெண்ட், ஹியூமர் அப்படிங்கிற பேரில் ஜெனரலைஸ் பண்ணுறதை விட்டுறாதீங்க. ஒரு இப்போது ஒரு தேவதை ஒருத்தி தெருவில் வந்தால் திருவிழான்னு புரிஞ்சுக்கோன்னு ஒரு பாட்டு ஒன்று இருக்குது. ரொம்ப பிரமாதமான சாங்காக இருக்கும். ரொம்ப நாள் கழித்து முத்துக்குமார் வந்து ஒரு விஷுவலாக ஒரு பாட்டு எழுதியிருப்பாங்க. நல்லா ஃபில்ம் பண்ணுறவங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப இதாக ரன்னுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன் அந்த படம் வந்து. நீங்கள் அந்த பாட்டு கேட்டிருக்கீங்களா? நீங்கள் வந்து கேட்டிருக்கீங்க. அதில் உங்களுக்கு இப்போ பெண்களுக்கு ஏதாவது அப்ஜெக்ட் பண்ணுற மாதிரி ஏதாவது லைன் இருக்கா? சார் இதெல்லாம் ஒரு காமெடி தானே அப்படின்லாம் சொல்லக்கூடாது என்று. ஐயர் பொண்ணு மீன் வாங்க வந்தால் லவ் மேரேஜ்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கோ. அது எப்படி நியாயமே இல்லை, அது ரியலிஸ்டிக்கே இல்லை. அதாவது நான் வந்து நான் வெஜிடேரியன், என் ஒய்ஃப் வந்து கேரட் வாங்கிட்டு சொன்னாங்கன்னா நான் போய் நின்னா எனக்கு வாமிட்லாம் வராது. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் என் ஒய்ஃப் வந்து வெஜிடேரியன் வச்சுங்க, அவங்கள போய் மட்டன் ஸ்டாலில் வெட்டி ரத்தம் குடலை உருவுனா அவங்க வாமிட் பண்ணிவிடுவாங்க. ஆனால் லவ் மேரேஜில் வந்து கன்சர்ன் வேணும் இல்லை. ஆனால் ஐயர் பொண்ணு மீன் வாங்க வந்தால் லவ் மேரேஜ்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கோ. அவள் ஷீஸ் அண்டர் த கம்பல்ஷன் டு கோ டு த ஃபிஷ் மார்க்கெட். புரியுதா? இது சிரிப்பு மாதிரி தெரியும். நம்ம விஷுவலை பார்த்துக்கிட்டே இருப்போம். நிறைய நீங்கள் மீசான் செல்லில் தெரிஞ்சிக்க வேண்டிய விஷயம் இதுதான். நிறைய விஷுவலில் வந்துட்டு போகும். அந்த விஷுவல் எல்லாம் நம்ம அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருப்போம். ஆனால் ப்ராமினென்ட்டை நீ அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருப்பீங்க, சப்சிடியில் எதையாவது உள்ளே நுழைச்சிருவாங்க. அதனால ரொம்ப கேர்ஃபுல்லாக இருங்க. உங்கள் மைண்ட் செட் அவங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி நீங்கள் அதை அக்செப்ட் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிருவீங்க. அது பண்ணாதீங்க.
So I'm just going to add again, when you're saying sexism is entertaining, what's your favorite film? Huh?
A lot of blockbuster films have.
No. I'm asking you, what's your favorite film? Don't talk about general. Don't forget about other people. What do you like?
Well, my favorite film is sort of an exception. It's Magalir Mattum, but
Which Magalir Mattum?
the 94 one, I think.
Oh God. Actually, I had a clip from that also. It's one of the worst examples. But anyway, and new Magalir Mattum is clueless. That's a different issue. But somebody said Vikram. Vikramla, there is no. Forget sexism. There are no women only, no, in that universe, so-called universe of Mr. Lokesh Kanakaraj. There is no women only. This is real. India is full of women. And here is this one fellow who makes films and calls it his universe. There are no women only there. Anyway,
No,
So where's sexism? That film is a super hit. It's
actually,
entertainment.
yeah, you were saying that why should it be on filmmakers to solve society's issues regarding gender, right? So my question was, okay, if we can't stop a film that has some sort of sexist content from becoming popular,
Don't watch it.
are we only relegated to critiquing it? Like,
No, don't watch it. You can be proactive. So this is the same issue that gender conversations always start with. Do we have agency? Do we have a choice? Yes, we have choice. Yes, we have agency. We can stop watching that film. We can stop clapping when he makes those stupid comments. But we are clapping. So whose fault is it? I'm going back to the same thing. What she's saying, what I'm saying.
Social media, and you can write about it, no?
Today you can dismiss a film in 5 seconds.
In 5 seconds you can say, why is this shame on you for writing this?
The same Mr. Rajinikanth yesterday, what did he say in Lal Salam audio release? How many of you watched it? His daughter Kadigama Aselliya, Adigama Kobamilliya. He says, கடவுள் வந்து நம்ம ஆண் குழந்தைங்களை கேட்டோம்னா, how many of you heard that? ஆண் குழந்தைங்க வேணும்னு நம்ம போய் கடவுள்கிட்ட ப்ரே பண்ணா கடவுள் என்ன சொல்லுவார், கடவுள் என்ன பண்ணுவார்? அகைன் கடவுள் ஆம்பளை, அதை மட்டும் நோட் பண்ணுங்க. And then he says, இங்கே எல்லாரும் இப்படி நின்றுட்டு இருப்பாங்களா ஆம்பளை பசங்க சோல்ஸை, போப்பா நீ போ நீ போ நீ போன்னு அனுப்புவாரான். அதே நான் வந்து போய் ப்ரே பண்ணி ஒரு பொன் குழந்தைய கொடுங்க சாமின்னு கேட்டால் அவர் உருகி அவரே நம்ம வீட்டுக்கு வந்துடுவாராம் பொன் குழந்தையா. The man who says this and also articulates this dialogue, மொத்தத்தில் பொம்பளையா இருக்கணும்னு சொன்னார்னா, what do? You have, like she says, you have a weapon right here. You have a tool. You can easily condemn him for it. Yes? We have choice. We have agency. Are we exercising it as an audience? You do not have to be a critic at all. That is our job. We do critiquing. You should be the change. You should bring that change as audience as to what is entertainment. I will define entertainment. You don't tell me what is entertainment, right?
Good evening once again. Sir, first of all, thank you for mentioning the lyrical discourses of Tamil cinema. And we have a senior most writer called Vairamuthu, whose lyrics are to be mentioned and discussed to the core. And of course...
Well, I can say I'm quite impressed with Rahman, at least for a few to work with.
But later on, right now when I'm looking back to all those songs, இந்த சாங் கடா சின்ன வயசில் வைப் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தோம் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி தான் ஃபீல் பண்ண வைக்குது அந்த லிரிக்ஸ் எல்லாமே. And as we are talking about women narratives, women personalities, women portrayals, I don't know, I just wanted to add up I just wanted to add up a discussion about one particular personality from Tamil cinema industry. First, I would like to mention her real name, Vijay Lakshmi, who was known by her screen name Silk Smitha. Because later reading her interviews, she says that I came into the industry to become a great character artist like Sridevi. But her wish was left unfulfilled. And the entire Tamil film industry was, till now we are witnessing her as a sex icon. You know, in my hostel room, I have a big portrait of her. And whoever enters into my room and sees her portrait will just mock at me. But they don't see, like I see her as an inspiration because she struggled hard when reading all her biographies and how she managed people both on the industry and off the industry in shooting spots where there were no caravan facilities available, and it was so disgusting and it is something annoying. So I think that it would be much meaningful if we have a discussion about such personalities from the film industries.
Agreed. She's a classic example of someone who wanted, who had agency, but they were not given the choice. She was told, this is all you will be fit for, you will be this, you will be cast only like this. And when she did try her hand at production and did 3 roles in one film, it bombed, and then of course we know the rest. The rest is history. Or her story, not history really, her story, yeah.
Ma'am, when ending your speech, you asked us, like you asked the audience, what is the solution for this? Let the audience answer. I think personally the solution is cinema should stop focusing on the problem and starts focusing on the solution. Like, for example, films which are about women empowerment, it always focuses on the struggles faced by a woman. Okay, but we need the solution to overcome these problems. We don't need to see the problems that they are facing. I think that is the solution for the problem we are facing here, ma'am.
Yeah, it's possible. I think some films have tried to attempt looking at the solution. So for instance, while it is inspired, it's a remake of a Malayalam film, Mupathiyaru Vayadinile did try to show what could be a woman's agency and what could be the solution. Now sometimes the solution could be Kovilpatti Veeralakshmi's solution. Why not? Sometimes it can be the solution that you see in Tanneer Tanneer. Not Tanneer Tanneer, what was that? Agnis. Agnis. I'm talking about the other Balachandar film where she kills Rajesh. She kills Rajesh. Who was Agnisachi? Illa. Agnisachi ale Rajesh kollapattaru. Aruvaloda she'll kill him, no, the politician. Tanneer illa. It's not Tanneer.
Excuse me.
That was also a double name, like Tanneer Tanneer.
Ma'am.
No, see, so there are films. So, for instance, Avalappadithan. There is no solution there. The problem is not with her.
But like, ask this question, you still started searching for particular movies. Like there are a
No.
lot
I'm
of
just
films.
trying to look at films that provided solutions because you were talking about solutions, right? But the point is not about solutions. The point is, what is the story? Tell me the story. And the story will have struggles. But the focus is on the struggle.
Ma'am, but I would like to think that when there is a problem, we need to find a solution for that rather than, exploring the problem.
So you're saying that any story doesn't give, but don't all stories actually try to give you a
I'm
solution?
not mentioning that every story doesn't, but most of the, like Tamil cinema, any cinema for that matter, doesn't provide a solution.
Give me an example, please.
Ma'am, for example, okay, basically there is a movie about women empowerment, let's say.
No. Give me an example here. When you tell me that films have to change, by giving solutions and not show the struggle, you have to give me an example, because I believe every film, as a film writer, there is a beginning, there is a middle, there is an end. The end could be a continuous end or an open end, but there is an end. So there is always a solution to every story. Otherwise, it's not a story, it's just a documentary. Okay, so you have to give me a specific example saying this is only showing the struggle, it doesn't give me a solution for it. You have something?
Any art should provide a space for dialogue. அவ்வளோ சொல்யூஷன் கொண்டு வந்து கொடுக்கறதுக்கு அது கான்ஸ்டியூஷன் கிடையாது. நீங்கள் விருமாண்டியில் எப்படி ஒருத்தன் படம் வரைஞ்சிக்கிட்டு இருக்கிறான், ஒருத்தன் விருமாண்டி படத்தில் படம் வரைஞ்சிக்கிட்டே இருப்பான், அவன் வந்து விட்னஸ் ஸ்டாண்டில் ஏறி சாட்சி சொல்ல மாட்டான், நம்ம பார்த்துக்க வேண்டியதான். ஆனால் அவனுக்கு ஒரு ஸ்பேஸ் அங்கே இருக்கணும். அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கதைன்னு எடுத்துட்டா அந்த கதைக்கு அவங்க சொல்கிற மாதிரி பிகினிங் மிடில் எண்டுன்னு இருக்கும். அது அந்த கதையுடைய எண்ட். தட் கேன் பி த பிகினிங் ஃபார் அனதர் ஸ்டோரி. நம்ம அக்னி பிரவேசம் பற்றி பேசணும் இல்லையா காலையில், அந்த மாதிரி தட் குட் பி த பிகினிங் ஃபார் அனதர் ஸ்டோரி. ஒரு கதையிலையோ ஒரு கவிதை வந்து ஒரு தீர்வை கொடுப்பதற்காக கவிதை இல்லை, ஒரு கலைங்கிறது ஒரு தீர்வை கொடுப்பதற்காக கலை இல்லை. கலைங்கிறது உங்களுடைய நுண் உணர்வுகளை தூண்டி விடுவது. அப்படி கொடுக்கும் பொழுது அங்கே சரியான ரெப்ரசன்டேஷன் இருக்கணும். ஒரு பெண்ணுன்னா அவங்களுடைய உணர்ச்சிகள் அங்கே பிரதிபலிக்கணும், ஆணுன்னா இருக்கலாம். ஒருவேளை அந்த கேரக்டர் வில்லனாக இருந்தால், அந்த கேரக்டர் வில்லியாக இருந்தால் அதை ட்ரூவாக ரெப்ரசன்ட் பண்ணணும். யூ மஸ்ட் பி ஆனஸ்ட் டு த ஸ்டோரி, ஜெனுவனாக இருக்கணும்.
Sir, and in noon, when I think the sir spoke, I had a question. Okay, as you mentioned, portrayal, from the beginning, like history la vandute, men have been portrayed, like from the beginning of the ages, men have been portrayed to be a strong provider, etc., etc. And now they are again focusing on the problems, like as I say, like they're focusing on the problems faced by femininity, and what I'm trying to say is normalize everything. I'm trying to bring the concept of normalizing. Why glorify a problem? You can normalize it.
Just to respond to you after some thought, like Sir said, it is not about providing solutions. It is about to spotlight an issue and provoke thought. You come up with a solution. That character will find their completion, their solution. May not be at the end of the film, but they would have started that journey towards that solution. So you as audience need to think, okay, what could be potential solutions to this issue? So the idea is only to spotlight the issue and provoke thought on your part.
I don't understand when you say normalize it. Normalize it. Normalize what? Normalize that
Instead of...
it's okay for women to keep struggling?
Ma'am, I'm not saying that it's okay for women to keep struggling. I'm telling you that, instead of saying that we are facing so many problems, why not show in the cinema? Okay, cinema is something that a creator creates. Why not show in the cinema that people can exist like this? Why not set an example?
Suggestions கொடுக்கலாம். Anything can give you suggestions, but you have to decide. You have to find whether it is good or bad. ஒரு suggestion கொடுக்கலாம். அவ்வளவுதான். That can be the solution. That may not be. ஏன்னா உங்களுக்குள்ள நீங்க இப்ப பேசும்பொழுது என்ன சொன்னீங்கன்னா men are strong அப்படின் பொழுது இந்த strong, இந்த strengthங்கிறத நம்ம எப்படி டிஃபைன் பண்றோம்? பிசிக்கல் ஸ்ட்ரென்த்தா? ஆனால் விமனுக்கு இருக்கிற எமோஷனல் ஃபோர்ட்டிடியூட், பெர்சிவியரன்ஸ், அவங்களுடைய டெசிஷன் மேக்கிங் மென்னுக்கு இருக்குதா? வேணா சில விஷயங்கள் சினிமாவை தாண்டி என்னால் பர்சனலாக என்னால் சொல்ல முடியும். எதுக்குமே ஒரு சொல்யூஷன் வேணும்னா நான் சாமி கும்பிடுவேன், தப்பாக எடுத்துக்காதீங்க. ஆனால் உண்மையை நான் பேசித்தான் ஆகணும். சாமி கும்பிடுறது என்னுடைய பர்சனல் விஷ். ஆனால் எதையுமே நீங்கள் சுயமாக சிந்திக்கணும்னா தயவு செய்து ஸ்கிரிப்சர்ஸை தாண்டி வாங்க. ஏன்னா நம்ம கையில் இருக்கிற எல்லா ஸ்கிரிப்சர்ஸுமே, அது பகவத்கீதை ஆனாலும் சரி, பைபிள் ஆனாலும் சரி, குரான் ஆனாலும் சரி, எல்லா ஸ்கிரிப்சர்ஸுமே அடிமைப்படுத்துவதற்காக எழுதப்பட்ட ஸ்கிரிப்சர்ஸ். எல்லாமே கிளாசிக்கல் டிட்டர்மினிசத்திலிருந்து வந்தது. அந்த டிட்டர்மினிசத்தை தாண்டி நீங்கள் இப்போ லிட்ரேச்சர் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் இங்கே இருப்பீங்க, அவங்க சோஃபோக்ளிஸுடைய ஈடிப்பஸை படிக்க சொல்லுவாங்களே ஒழிய அவங்க அதே செனக்காவுடைய ஈடிப்பஸை படிக்க சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. செனக்காவுடைய ஈடிப்பஸ் தான் இட்ஸ் இண்டிவிஜுவல் ஃப்ரீ வில். அதை பற்றி பேசுறது, அதை எந்த யூனிவர்சிட்டியிலையும் ப்ரிஸ்கிரைப் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. இருக்குது ஸ்கிரிப்ட். ஆனால் அதே கதையை சோஃபோக்ளிஸ் சொன்னதை தான் சொல்லுவாங்க. அதனால் நீங்கள் மதம், ஜாதி, இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்களை விட்டு ஸ்கிரிப்சர்ஸ், கோயில், காலையில் கூட யாரோ பெரியாரை பற்றி சொன்னாங்க. பெரியார் அந்த ஒரு விஷயத்தை தான் பெரியாரை நம்ம பார்க்கணும். அவர் சொன்னது, எது உன் சுயமரியாதையை பாதிக்குதோ, நீ நல்லா படிக்கிற, நல்ல பவருக்கு வர, பணம் சம்பாதிக்கிற, அழகாக இருக்க, எல்லாம் இருக்க, ஆனால் நீ அந்த கோயிலுக்குள்ளே வரும்போது உன்னை நிறுத்திடுறான் பாரு. அப்போ நீ ஏன் அந்த கோயிலுக்கு போகிற? சாமி பேரை சொல்லி உன்னை ஏமாத்துறான் பாரு. அந்த சாமி உனக்கு தேவையில்லை. அப்போ நீங்கள் உண்மையிலேயே அது பெண்ணியமானாலும் சரி, காஸ்ட் பேரியரை உடைக்கணும்னு நினச்சாலும் சரி, அல்லது நீங்கள் ப்ரொக்ரெசிவாக என்ன செய்யணும்னு நினச்சாலும் சரி, நீங்கள் ஸ்கிரிப்சர்ஸை தாண்டி வந்தால் தான் முடியும். நீங்கள் ஸ்கிரிப்சர்ஸ்லேயும் கோயில்லையும் மடங்கி, ஜாதியிலையும் மடங்கி கிடந்தீங்கன்னா கண்டிப்பாக எதுலேயுமே வர முடியாது. உங்களை அங்கே கொண்டு வந்து ஜாதியில் கொண்டு வந்து மடக்கிடுவாங்க, அந்த இடத்துல கொண்டு வந்து கோயிலில் கொண்டு வந்து மடக்கிடுவாங்க. நீங்கள் கடைசி வரைக்கும் நீங்கள் அதை உடைச்சி தான் வரணும். நான் தான் சாமி கும்பிடுறேன், ஆனால் எங்கள் அப்பா என்னை திராவிடியன் மூமெண்ட்ஸில் வளர்த்துட்டு வந்தவர். அதனால கொஞ்சமாவது இப்படி பேசுறதுக்கு தைரியமாவது வருது. இல்லைன்னா அந்த தைரியமும் வராது, இந்த தைரியமும் வராது. அதனால நீங்கள் அதுதான் பொதுவாக சொல்கிறேன். அப்போ சினிமாலையும் பேரியர்ஸை உடைச்சிட்டு வரணும். தே ஷுட் ரெப்ரசன்ட், ட்ரூவாக ரெப்ரசன்ட் பண்ணணும். ஜெயகாந்தன் சொல்கிற மாதிரி, கேட்பவன் திருதராஷ்டனாக இருக்கும் பொழுது பதில் சொல்பவன் சஞ்சயனாக இருக்க வேண்டாமா அப்படின்னாரு. நான் தான் ஒரு பிரச்சனையை பேசுகிறேன், நீங்கள் திருதராஷ்டர். நீங்கள் ஏன் திருதராஷ்டர்னா, யூ ஆர் த ஆடியன்ஸ். யூ கேன் மேக் ஆர் பிரேக் த வார். அட் த சேம் டைம் யூ கேனாட் சீ ஃபார் யுவர் செல்ஃப் அப்படின்னு நான் நினச்சேன்னா, நீங்கள் உங்களால் சரியாக பார்க்க முடியல, திருதராஷ்டனுக்கு கண்ணு தெரியாது, ஆனால் வந்தால் எம்பரர். அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஆடியன்ஸ் நினைச்சா ஒரு வார, ஒரு சினிமாவை ஜெயிக்கவும் வைக்கலாம், தோக்கவும் வைக்கலாம். ஒரு வாரை பிரேக் பண்ணலாம், மேக் பண்ணலாம். அப்போது நான் தான் இருக்கிறேன், ஆர்டிஸ்ட் தான் இருக்கேன். இங்கே ரியாலிட்டி என்ன, உங்களுக்கு கொண்டு வந்து சேர்க்கறதுக்கு ஆர்டிஸ்ட் இருக்கேன். அந்த உண்மையை நான் கொண்டு வந்து சேர்க்கணும்ல, அதுதான் என்னால் செய்ய முடியும். விருமாண்டியில் அந்த படம் வரைகிறவன் படம் தான் வரைவான். அவன் விட்னஸ் ஸ்டாண்டில் ஏறி நான் பார்த்தேன், எல்லா இடத்துலையும் அவன் இருக்கிறான். நல்லா நோட்டீஸ் பண்ணிங்கன்னா தெரியும். அந்த படத்தில் 2 பேர் கதை சொல்கிறாங்க. யார் உண்மை சொல்கிறாங்கங்கிறது நம்ம கமல்ன்றனால நம்ம நம்புகிறோம். இதே இது வந்து நம்ம வந்து ஒரு சப்போஸ் ரேஷமானா இருந்திருந்தா, அக்கிர குரோசவாவுடைய ரேஷமானா இருந்திருந்தா யார் உண்மைன்றதே நமக்கு தெரியாது. அப்படி தானே? அப்போது அங்கே ஆர்டிஸ்ட்டை நீங்கள் பார்க்குறீங்க. ஆர்டிஸ்ட் சட்டிலாக ஏதோ ஒரு விதத்தில் ஒரு டிராயிங்லேயோ ஒரு ஸ்கல்ப்சர்லேயோ இதுலேயோ ஒன்றைய வச்சுருக்கான், அந்த உண்மையை வச்சுருக்கான். அதை நீங்கள் பார்க்கணும். அதுதான் முக்கியமே ஒழிய ஆர்டிஸ்ட்டை வந்து நீ அருவாள் எடுத்து வெட்டுனா வெட்ட மாட்டான். அவன் வேலை அது இல்லை. அது நான் எனக்கு சரியாக பதில் சொன்னான்னு தெரியலை. நீங்கள் கேட்டதுக்கு நான் சொல்கிறேன்.
I think one of the things that we talk in media classes and all that, we want audiences to be active audiences, not passive audiences, right? Don't look for any solutions, anything from media. You be the active audience, you question, you interrogate, you introspect. It's only a representation out there. A film is only a representation.
Rather than like a solution, no, ma'am asked for an example. Okay, there was this problem in America called racism. And at the beginning,
there still is.
There is still racism in America. But the way the movies have handled racism in America, I think it's far more different from the way we handle our societal problems.
But
in
that's
Indian
a
cinema.
different audience. It's a different history. It's a different space. We cannot simply ape Hollywood. In fact, that's the stupidest aspiration most Indian film industries have, saying I want to be Collywood, Tollywood, Mollywood. Nonsense. All of us started making
No,
films
ma'am,
at
I'm not
1896.
talking about the lifestyle.
No. How to
when
handle a
there was
subject
racism,
is not decided by a film industry. It is decided by the society, the socio-cultural, political, historical context within which that film is being made, and more important, being consumed by audiences. Correct? So ultimately, films don't provide solutions. That's not the job also of the filmmaker. Like I already said, why are we putting all this burden on the filmmakers? What are we doing as people, right? And especially because we are in Tamil Nadu, 2 things that have happened that have made this an issue for us. One is that while we talk rationalism, while we talk about dismantling social injustice, at the end of it, in practice, we are still very much sitting in that old mindset. We are not able to get out of it. 2, we are also the only film-going audience in the entire world who've made our heroes into deities. We deify our heroes. Like he said, if it was Kamal Hassan, we will believe illa power innocent da irpar. He'll be a good guy. Yeah. And Rajinikanth might say all these things, but our nalla pannuvar. Ellame correct panniduvar kadasila. Correct? So it's an inbuilt acceptance. We have these frames of references that are constantly there at the back of our mind when we are watching a film. So we are always trying to fit it into that template. We are not trying to go beyond it. Like he says, we are not going beyond the restrictive thinking that has been embedded in us, conditioned. You know, for instance, just take a film like, what is that? Kamal Hassan. The names are just going out of my head. What is the film that is a remake of Drishyam? Papanasam, right? It's a... Sir said this. He brought this up as an example. They are taking videos of women and blackmailing them. This is a general social issue. We are having terrible suicides and all kinds of impact of this, right? You have this wonderful film story in your hand. You're Kamal Hassan. If you tell audiences may actually listen to you, right? What could he have done with that film? What you're saying, right? Provide a solution. Is that the solution? Kill off that guy and then hide the evidence and get away with a crime? What are we telling the girls in our family? What are we telling the girls in Tamil society? Tappu unnodadha. Shame is yours. Body politics, right? Using the body of the woman, weaponize it against her and use it against her. And the woman is supposed to feel shame. And she has to hide this from the rest of the world. Now it's Mr. Kamal Hassan. If only he had shifted the narrative. If he had changed that story and said, don't be scared, come let's go to the police station.
Yeah, I mean, this is
That's
exactly
what you're asking.
Yeah, this is
That's
exactly
what
I'm
you're telling
trying to
me.
tell
You're
you.
telling me, let Mr. Kamal Hassan give the solution. I'm saying, That's not his job. His job is to go with the emotions of the character he is playing, which is a father of a girl, and he wants to protect that daughter because he sees that as his job as the father. So they're staying true to that emotion. They can't provide the solution. It's up to you and me to say, let me make a film where I show the character in such a way, because you build that character in a way that will not do this. But that can't be Kamal Haasan and Papanasam. Right? I understand where you're coming from, but the problem is that all of us don't think the same way. All our solutions are not the same. One solution cures all, not possible. That same issue has 120 solutions depending on who is going to take that step. Right? So it's not impossible for filmmakers to give you a solution that are acceptable to all. So which is why they don't go into that zone at all. They say, go with my character, go with my premise, go with my story and the emotional arcs of these characters. Does it work? It works? Okay, that's it. Yeah?
Thank you.
I hope that answers.
Hello, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. So today we spoke a lot about Bechdel test, right? So when sir was speaking, sir told about Agni Pravesam story where the character was not named, but still it was a very strong female character. So ma'am, do you really think we should conduct this as a research scholar? Okay, I'll do that. As my part, I'll do it. So do you think movie makers will do this and then make a movie? Isn't it out of their creativity, or does that work like that?
No, so this is a basic question all filmmakers are going to ask us, right?
Yes.
If we go and tell them, look, I analyzed your film, it is not fitting into the Bechdel test, it is not fulfilling the requirements of the Furiosa test or whatever, right? First of all, a lot of these tests come from the Western world, which is why I created a separate framework saying culture sensitivity. We need to say, this test doesn't work for me. எனக்கு பேர் இல்லைனாலும் பரவாயில்ல, because that community will reveal something. The mise-en-scène of the film will reveal something about the character and their location. So it doesn't matter. பேர் இல்லைனாலும் பரவாயில்ல. Correct? I agree with you. It is not the job of filmmakers to say, oh, will my film pass this test? Will my script pass this test? No. What we are only asking for is two things. Be sensitive and true to the character that you have created. Whatever gender it is. So be gender sensitive. One. And two, be culture sensitive. That you can do, right? Yes. You can be a humanist. You do not have to be a male, female, feminist, misogynist. You don't have to be all that. You can be a humanist. You can just be someone who is non-judgmental because you're an artist and you're presenting a story. Don't take one point of view. Don't show only one perspective. Don't take only the male gaze. That's all we're saying. Gender sensitivity and culture sensitivity. That's all we're asking.
And there is another thing I wanted to ask. Now there was this recent movie called Animal released, and I personally saw people who celebrated that movie. Though it was I to that movie, there are people celebrating that. Though it showed violence against women, whatever it is, there are people celebrating that. What do you think about that one, ma'am?
You're asking me?
Yes. Okay. Your take on such movies?
I personally think Sandeep Reddy Vanga is just one of those very fortunate young spoiled men who has managed to convince producers to allow him to indulge his worldview, whatever that is acceptable to me or not, right? The problem is not with Sandeep Reddy Vanga. The problem is with India as a society. Our problem is that feminism or activism didn't come to us in progression. Right? In the Western world, when the feminist movement started, there were various waves of feminism. It moved from asking for basic equality, basic rights, voting rights, suffragette, all of that, and then finally comes to also what Sir mentioned, radical feminism. It came to a lot of things before it comes to what we see today as feminism asks for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Right? But many people don't know that, because in India itself, nobody really knows what feminism is, because the way feminism enters India, it is entering like a mishmash of everything into this society that is already struggling and coping with a lot of other dimensions in our own lives. And then suddenly feminism comes in, and there is no control over how it got spread out, how people understood it, how people internalized it. And so definitely there is a backlash that we are facing today in India especially in urban India, we are facing a backlash. Yeah, because globalization, liberalization, whole lot of it is happening. We are also being exposed to content from all over the world. So at some level, the male population is feeling very threatened, one. Two, they're very confused because they don't know anymore what is expected of them, what are their roles. That's where Jesse comes from. That's Gautam Menon's own frustration as to what he should be, what he wants to be. Yeah, he has his own issues. Right? It tells the same story in multiple ways. So the problem is not his. I mean, it's not Jesse is not the problem. The problem is him. But he's playing it out like Jesse's problem. Right? So it's the same story with Animal. It is that here are these men being constantly told, you are not being sensitive, you are not being nice, you are not being polite, you are not empowering me, you are not giving me a voice, you are oppressing me. So what does he do? Hits back. He says, I don't know. Forget all this rubbish. I'll go back to my original understanding of the caveman. I will just be this aggressive man who will first shoot and then ask questions. Yeah? So in a way, it's indulging that confusion on the part of men today in India because they really don't know what to do with women, an entire generation of women who have been brought up being told, find your voice, be assertive, do not let your voice go unheard. What we've been talking the whole day, right? So what does the man do when he's being assaulted by this? So this is all psychology. Your psychology students will probably be able to throw more light on this. That this is the threatened male in the subcontinent lashing out. It is a backlash against haphazard feminism just being pushed into a culture without any understanding of the consequences.
One more thing, ma'am. I just feel these kind of movies just has a direct influence on the behavior and attitude of young people from very young age. Even grown-up adults have a changed attitude after watching these movies. It just directly influences them. I just wanted to add that.
Check. So I have an observation, and which is going to be followed by 2 questions. So there's this film called Shivakasi where Vijay objectifies and schools women as to how to dress. And then 15 years later, there's this film called Master where he tells, it's up to the women to choose what they want to wear. Although I wish he enabled or he passed the mic to a woman to say that. But nevertheless, his stand changes in the span of 15 years. And audience enjoyed both. Both these things when it came from Vijay, they enjoyed it, they applauded for it. So my question is, does this mean that the market or the business of filmmaking is changing with changing perception of the audience? That's one. And the second is, do stars, especially, who have the image of, say, Rajni or Vijay, do they have some sort of social and moral responsibility when they choose to make roles like this? So, yeah.
See, art and business are 2 sides of cinema. You want to make money. As ma'am said, it is the mindset which is being constructed. Okay. A few years back, 10 years, 15 years back, உங்கள் வீட்டில் எல்லாம் அம்மா என்ன ஆயில் யூஸ் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க. Suddenly one oil came into your household. Can you recollect? Not palm oil. Oh, okay, 15 years back. Some other oil from the west. Olive oil. ஒரு ஸ்பூனில் எடுப்பாங்க. They used to suddenly, I don't know from where this olive oil came. You have been using coconut oil and groundnut oil and gingerly oil. Suddenly this olive oil came and everybody started using it. They were conditioned like that by the media through advertisements. They started using it. They felt very healthy. All of a sudden one fine morning they woke up and they found very healthy. They started using this. And then now you see every nook and corner you have this check enai. Every nook and corner they have this check enai. Again, corporates only manufacture those check enai, but it is being sold as if they are native products. So it is all the mindset. You are conditioned like that. You enjoyed Vijay's movie, which was, as you said, Sivakasi as an example. Adhuvum nama paathu enjoy pannom. Now Master also we are enjoying, and supposedly he is going to end his career 69 illaya. So ஒரு சின்ன ஒரு ஸ்டோரி அன்டில் மேம் இது நடந்த இது வர வரைக்கும் there was an art exhibition. நிறையா ஒரு கேலரியில் தேவர் லைக் the modern arts they were hanged and people were like enjoying, and in front of one particular art it was told from the point of view, this short story is told from the point of view of that particular art piece. அங்கே நிறைய நின்றுட்டு they were all critiquing that art. This is like somebody says this is climate change, somebody says this is eternal life, something and all they were saying. They were like enjoying that particular art. ரொம்ப நல்லா அழகாக அதை ரசிச்சுட்டு இருக்காங்க. Suddenly that caretaker, he comes and he apologizes and he turns that art upside down. அது யாரோ தப்பாக தலைகளாக போட்டிருக்காங்க, அதையும் ரசிக்கிறாங்க. People enjoy whatever you show. You are conditioned like that, you keep enjoying. Only if the trend changes, only if the mindset changes, then you can expect a change in the industry also.
See, to answer your question, definitely as society and ideas change, people also change. So 10 years back or 15 years back, they enjoyed that. Now they are enjoying this because they are also, so it is they are growing, and it's a very positive thing, no? That now Vijay is able to say this means in his film, that means his mindset, it's a big success then. So they are being gender sensitive or sensitive to women and this thing. But the same person also did the body shaming. So it depends, So it is, but anything which is positive, we should take it, grab it and hold on to it, and the power is with us. We can say we won't watch Animal, but it's entirely up to us as an audience, I feel.
Change. Only the mass can make the change. ஒரு ஆள் சேஞ்ச் பண்ண முடியாது, ஒரு மாஸ் தான் சேஞ்ச் பண்ணணும். இந்த மாஸ் மீடியா உங்கள் மேலே பயங்கர இம்பேக்டை கொடுக்குது. அப்போது ஆடியன்ஸ் தே மஸ்ட் பி எஜுகேட்டட். அதுதான் முக்கியம். எஜுகேட்டட். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள், உங்கள் அனிமல் படத்தை சொன்ன மாதிரி, அனிமல் படத்தில் உங்களுக்கு கொடுத்துருக்க இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் அவ்வளவும் தப்பு. அது ஆல்ஃபா மேலே கிடையாது. அது தானே அது ஆல்ஃபா மேல்னா என்னன்னே தெரியாமல் அந்த படம் 500 கோடி 600 கோடி சம்பாதிச்சு போகுது. ஏன்னா யங் பீப்புள் இருக்காங்க இல்லையா, இந்த யங் பீப்புள் தான் இத்தனை இந்த ஏறக்குறைய இந்த செஞ்சுரியில், இந்த பீரியடில் 20 வருஷமாக இந்த யங் பீப்புளுடைய பாப்புலேஷன் மேக்ஸிமம் இருக்குது. அதனால் நீங்கள் தான் ஒரு சக்ஸஸையோ அல்லது ஒரு டினையலையோ பண்ண முடியும். நீங்கள் அன்ஃபார்ச்சுனேட்லி என்னென்னா அப்பாவுடைய பணத்தில் டிக்கெட் வாங்கிட்டு போகிறீங்க. இது நீங்கள் சம்பாதிச்சிருந்தீங்கன்னா ஒவ்வொரு சினிமா பார்க்கும் பொழுதும் இஸ் இட் ரைட், இஸ் இட் ராங், வாட் இஸ் த இம்பேக்ட், வை ஷுட் ஐ ஸ்பெண்ட் திஸ் மச் ஆஃப் மணி ஆன் சம்திங். ஒரு 7 யூரினல் இருக்கிற ஒரு தேட்டருக்குள்ளே 120 ரூபா கொடுத்து நீங்கள் போகிறீங்க. நினச்சி பாருங்கள், இலவச அரிசி கொடுக்குற ஒரு நாட்டில், விலையில்லா அரிசி கொடுக்குற ஒரு நாட்டில் 120 ரூபாய் கொடுத்து போகிறீங்க. அங்கே ஒரு 7 பேருக்கு ஒரு யூரினல் இருக்கணும். ஆனால் அங்கே 12 யூரினல் கூட இல்லை. ஆனால் அதுக்குள்ளே 120 ரூபாய் டிக்கெட் கொடுத்துட்டு நம்ம போகிறோம். அப்போது அந்த ஜெனரேஷன் நீங்கள் எஜுகேட்டடாக இருக்கணும். நீங்கள் எதையுமே இன்க்விசிட்டிவாக கேட்கணும். இது என்ன அது என்னன்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். தெரியாமல் நீங்கள் கிளாமரைஸ் பண்ண இந்த மாதிரி இப்போ ஒரு ஃபிலிம் 500 crores கிராஸ் பண்ணிடுச்சுன்னா உடனே இது சக்ஸஸ் ஃபார்முலாவோ அப்படின்னு நினச்சிட்டு வரிசையாக கொண்டு வருவாங்க. ஒரு 4 படம் உங்கள் பணத்தை பூரா அடிச்சுட்டு போயிடும். அதுதான் ப்ராப்ளம். அந்த கன் கூட யூஸ் பண்ணுறது கூட பாருங்கள், ஒரு 3 படத்தில் அந்த கேட்லிங் கன் கூட அதே தான் யூஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க. அதுதான் நீங்கள் அதை கொஞ்சம் கேர்ஃபுல்லாக நீங்கள் இருக்கணும். நீங்கள் கேர்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கணும்.
Just to answer your question, I think I'm a bit cynical, and I will tell you that I don't think Vijay has grown mature or that his POV has changed. I don't think so. I think it's because he realizes it's a market strategy, that there are equal number of young women watching films today. And if I say this, as opposed to when I said it in Sivakasi, my audience is not just women, young men, but women too. And so he wants to please both segments of the market. This is my reading on it. One. I don't know if it's good or bad, because there is an aspect of manipulation here. And it's possible that it's because of the studios who have now come into the picture, and the producers in these studios have certain compulsions to be seen as progressive. I don't think it's anything positive in that sense. But it's positive in the sense that hopefully the next a lot of youngsters will remember this dialogue from whichever film you're referring to. I'm not sure really. I personally can't see any difference between one Vijay film and the next. They all seem the same. And I don't think he's changed in all these years. So I don't see any big impact. But hopefully Rajinikanth dialogue 99 la vandadu idu varaikum neenga nyabagam vechirkeenga illaya. அந்த மாதிரி இந்த வெரி பிடிச்ச தமிழ் ஆடியன்ஸ் இஃப் தே கேன் ரிமெம்பர் விஜய்ஸ் பாசிட்டிவ் woman image dialogue, like she says, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. If it makes an impact, it's a good
We'll take whatever we can.
Somebody here has been raising their hand for a long time.
Psychology team.
Yeah, the psychology. Herd mentality, yeah. I'll give a quick response, but then I'll pass it on to Priya. She asked this also, actually. I forgot about that part of her question. She said, does the artist have a responsibility? Similar to what you're asking. I do believe that all creators have a social responsibility, because we do not make these works of art only for our consumption. If a painter or artist பண்றாங்கன்னா அது வேற, right? But a film is being made for an audience. So definitely, I think filmmakers should have a sense of responsibility, maybe not accountability so much, but responsibility surely, and understanding that they could be doing some harm. Now, somebody like Sandeep Reddy Vanga has his own understanding of what is alpha male, and he's put it on us as audience to accept it or reject it. So there we have a choice. We have a responsibility as an audience to say, I will not consume this trash. Both ways it works. I think responsibility works both on the makers and the audience.
See, 100% when you're writing a story as a writer personally. See, I can only speak for myself. I cannot speak for every writer or every creator. I will try to have some kind of social responsibility. Whatever it is, okay, if I don't like to see it on screen, I don't like to shoot it. That is my first step. எனக்கு இது பார்க்க பிடிக்குமா, என்னால் இதை சகிச்சுக்க முடியுமா அப்படின்னு பார்த்துட்டு தான் நான் எழுதுவேன். அந்த மாதிரி Most people have that. See, society, it's not my thing. But I want anything I say to be palatable and to be sensitive to all people. And even if I'm not sensitive, ultimately I would like to find a solution in it. But this is me. And I feel every filmmaker should be that way. But it is also up to you to encourage that kind of filmmaking and discourage that kind of filmmaking. That you won't do. That an audience doesn't do, which is why Animal has collected 800 crores. Yeah, even I hope that happens.
See, நீங்கள் social responsibility பற்றி பேசுனீங்க இல்லையா? So, one person I know with so much of social responsibility is Bertolt Brecht. He's a German playwright. நம்மளாம் மெத்தட் ஆக்டிங் பற்றி படிச்சுட்டு இருக்கோம், இம்ப்ரோவைசேஷன் பற்றி பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கோம். தியேட்டர் உடைய மூவிஸோட இம்பேக்ட் நமக்கு வந்து நல்லாவே தெரியும். கத்தார்சிஸ், எஸ்கேபிசம், ஒரு லார்ஜ் ஸ்க்ரீன், அந்த டார்க்னஸ், அந்த ஆடியோ அட்மாஸ் அதுன்னு சொல்கிறோம், ஏர் கண்டிஷன், அந்த ரிக்ளைனர்ஸ், இதில் போய் நீங்கள் மூவி பார்க்கும்போது டெஃபினெட்லி யூல் கெட் இம்மர்ஸ்ட் இன் இட் அண்ட் யூல் எஸ்கேப் ஃப்ரம் யுவர் ரியல் வேர்ல்டு. அந்த இம்பேக்ட் வில் பி சம்டைம்ஸ் ஒரு ஷார்ட் லிவ்டாக இருக்கும், சம்டைம்ஸ் லாங் லாஸ்டிங்காக இருக்கும். பசங்களாம் படம் பார்த்துட்டு வெளியே வந்தோன்னே யாரையாவது ஒரு ஆக்ஷன் மூவி பார்த்துட்டு யாரை அடிக்கணும் போல தோணும், இல்லை அது மாதிரி ஹேர் கட் பண்ணணும், அது மாதிரி ட்ரெஸ் பண்ணணும், அந்த ஒரு இம்பேக்ட் வந்து இருந்துகிட்டே இருக்கும். எவ்ரிபடி லவ்ஸ் டு ஹேவ் சச் அன் இம்பேக்ட். இல்லை ஒரு மூவி மேக்கராக அந்த இம்பேக்டை கொண்டு போகணும். இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் படம் பார்த்து அழுகுறோம், சிரிக்கிறோம், சம்டைம்ஸ் ஈவன் வில் கெட் கூஸ் பம்ப்ஸ் ஆல்சோ. இந்த இம்பேக்ட் இருக்கணும்னு நினைக்கிறோம். பட் திஸ் கை பெர்டோல்ட் பிரெச்ட், ஹி வாண்டட் தி ஆடியன்ஸ் டு டிஸ்டன்ஸ் தெம்செல்வ்ஸ் ஃப்ரம் தி சினிமா, ஃப்ரம் தி மீடியம், ஃப்ரம் தியேட்டர். ஸோ ஹி டெவலப்ட் அ கான்செப்ட் கால் எபிக் தியேட்டர். ஸோ அதில் என்ன சொல்கிறாங்கன்னா ஏலியனேஷன் எஃபெக்ட். எப்படி நீங்கள் வந்து அந்த நீங்கள் அது கான்ஷியஸாக இருக்கணும், ஒரு ஆஸ் அன் ஆடியன்ஸ் வந்து நீங்கள் கான்ஷியஸாக இருக்கணும். நம்ம வந்து ஒரு தியேட்டர் தான் இருக்கோம், படம் தான் பார்க்குறோம், அல்லது ப்ளே தான் பார்க்குறோம் அப்படின்ட்டு இருக்கணும். ஆனால் அந்த இம்பேக்ட்டு, அந்த இது வந்து ரொம்ப நாளைக்கு இருக்கணும். அப்போ அந்த அதுக்கு தான் ஹி ப்ரோக் தட் ஃபோர்த் வால். சினிமாவில் ஃபோர்த் வால் சொல்கிறோம் இல்லையா, அது ஹி ப்ரோக் தட் த்ரூ செவரல் டெக்னிக்ஸ். அதெல்லாம் பண்ணிவிட்டு அவ்வளோ சோஷியல் ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டியோட இருந்தார். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஒன்ஸ் இன் அ வைல், ஒன்ஸ் இன் அ ப்ளூ மூன் வந்து நமக்கு அந்த மாதிரி ஆட்கள் வந்து கிடைப்பாங்க. பட் அஸ் ஐ செட் ஆல்ரெடி, இட் இஸ் லைக் பிஸ்னஸ் டூ. நம்ம ரொம்ப இதை பற்றி ரொம்ப இது போயிட்டோன்னா பிஸ்னஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. ஹி cannot even withstand the competition. ஸோ அதனால் எஸ், அஃப்கோர்ஸ் வி ஹவ் டு பி சோஷியலி ரெஸ்பான்சிபிள். பட் எல்லா டைமும் அப்படி இருக்க முடியுமா தெரியல. வி கேன் ஒன்லி டிஸ்கஸ் இஷ்யூஸ், ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ். வி cannot ப்ரொவைட் சொல்யூஷன்ஸ் ஃபார் ஆல். இப்போ ஃப்ரெஞ்ச் நியூ வேவுடைய ஒரு க்ரைட்டீரியாவே வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா லீவிங் த இது டு த ஆடியன்ஸ். அவங்க எதுவுமே ஆமாம் ஓப்பன் அப்படியே அவங்களே விட்டுருவாங்க. யூ டிசைட். தே ட்ரீட் ஆடியன்ஸ் as well informed, well educated, knowledgeable. அதனால் அவங்க போய் ஸ்பூன் ஃபீட் பண்ணி திஸ் இஸ் த சொல்யூஷன் அப்படின்லாம் சொல்ல தேவையில்லை. ஸோ யூ கிரியேட் சம் டிஸ்கஷன், யூ கிரியேட் சம் பப்ளிக் ஒப்பீனியன். தட் இஸ் மோர் தென் எனஃப். தட் இஸ் வாட் ஃபிலிம் மேக்கர் கேன் டூ. அது பண்ணாலே மோர் தென் எனஃப் அப்படின்னு வாட் ஐ ஃபீல்.
Thank you to the dignitaries and students for having insightful conversation. Now I call Dr. Panbu Selvan will present the seminar report, summarizing the key takeaways and highlights from our discussion.
Report வாசிக்கிற மாதிரியே வாசிச்சடா தம்பி. A warm good evening to one and all present here. It's my great pleasure to present the report on the ICSSR sponsored one-day national seminar titled Shaping Narratives Tamil Cinema and its Rendition of Women's Empowerment and Avenue for Social Change. The registrations exceeding 200 plus nationwide, the seminar has garnered widespread interest, connecting its journey from the northern territory of India, Jammu and Kashmir, and extending down to the southern states of Telangana and Karnataka, with participants hailing from over 10 states. Notably, Tamil Nadu boasts a significant turnout with 200 registrations alongside 65 in-house registrations and 120 students' participation from the department. Furthermore, the seminar features 66 papers plus presentations from several universities, including the prestigious Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Institute, Indian Institute of Mass Communication, Kottayam, in addition to contributions from 35 colleges and media professionals from various states. This diverse and extensive participation underscores the seminar's broad appeal and promises a rich exchange of ideas and insights from across the country. By setting a positive tone, the day's seminar started with a prayer song, followed by the lighting of the lamp by the dignitaries of the day. To acknowledge and set a warm tone for the event, Dr. G. Radha, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Visual Communication and Electronic Media, graciously welcomed the magnificent gathering. The seminar scope, highlighting the transformative potential of the Tamil cinema in promoting women's empowerment, was presented by Dr. P. Panbuselvan, Assistant Professor, Department of Visual Communication and Electronic Media. The seminar received distinguished patronage as Dr. G. Brinda, Principal of PHG College of Arts and Science, delivered the presidential address. Secretary T. Kannayan sir and Vice Principal Dr. D. Engra sir added the event's prestige by extending the felicitations. Their presence and contributions enhanced the academic stature of the seminar, providing valuable insights and support to the attendees. Today's seminar comprised 4 insightful sessions, each led by distinguished speakers in the realm of Tamil cinema. Ms. Priya V, a notable filmmaker, director, scriptwriter, and documentary filmmaker, explored the empowering contributions of female filmmakers, emphasizing their unique narratives and impact on women's empowerment within Tamil films. Dr. V. Ilamparudi, an esteemed academician, explored how Tamil cinema portraying stereotype characters, unconventional female characters, the strengths, independence, and resilience, inspiring audiences with diverse narratives of empowerment and self-discovery. Dr. Ilango Nadesan, Associate Professor and former head, discussed how from early portrayals of nuanced empowered characters and evaluation of women's representation in Tamil cinema reflects societal shifts, offering a journey from passive stereotypes to multifaceted roles and challenge norms and inspire progress. Finally, Dr. G. Uma Vangal, a Dean of Research, stressed how women in Tamil cinema face ongoing challenges and critique regarding their roles and how emerging trends suggest a shift towards more diverse and empowering representations, indicating areas for improvement in addressing gender disparities. The seminar promised a comprehensive exploration of multifaceted roles of women in Tamil cinema, from historical perspectives to contemporary challenges and future potentials. A diverse range of people with varied levels of experience and viewpoints were drawn to today's inclusive seminar, which encouraged a lively discussions of ideas and observations. This varied mix of participations underscore the event's broad relevance, ensuring a comprehensive exploration of nuanced roles and contributions of women in Tamil cinema. Thank you.
Since there is slight delay in the certificate distribution, you would now move on with the vote of thanks. I would like to call Mr. Dr. Panbuselvan sir to present the vote of thanks.
Sorry, the more chinna correction, certificate distribution போயிட்டு நாம vote of thanks போலாம். Thank you so much. Sorry, உங்களுக்கு கிடைச்ச இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் படி நீங்க சொல்லிட்டீங்க. Thank you so much. Please wait for a few minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Gathering, please wait for a couple of minutes. Right.
காலேஜ்
Dada, head of our department, will graciously distribute certificates to acknowledge the participants and contributions of all attendees. K. Parthasarathi, NGPCAS. K. Parthasarathi from NGPCAS. Aparna R from NGPCAS. R. Varshini Yogarajan from PSG CAS. Nancy Thambi from PSG CAS. B. Pavitra from PSG CAS. Ranjini B. Sona College of Arts and Science. V. Ilamparithi, Assistant Professor, NKN. Pravanakumar R, Assistant Professor, Manipal Academy. A. Shanti, Head and Assistant Professor, Sona College.
The rest of the participants, please get your certificates in the back door, please. Get it in the backstage. Before we conclude, we extend heartfelt gratitude to all our speakers, participants, organizers, and sponsors of their unwavering support and enthusiasm in making this seminar a resounding success. With that, let us delve into rich tapestry of Tamil cinema and its portrayal of women's empowerment as we strive towards a more inclusive and equitable society. I would now request everyone to stand up for national anthem.
சாரி, ஒரு ஃபார்மலாக ஒரு ஓட் ஆஃப் தேங்க்ஸ் முடிச்சுட்டு அப்புறம் நம்ம மறுபடியும் எழுந்திரிச்சு நிற்போம். தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச். தேங்க்யூ. ஆக்சுவலாக ஓட் ஆஃப் தேங்க்ஸ் சொல்லணும்னு நினைக்கிறப்போ ஒரு 7 பக்கம்லாம் எழுதி வச்சு ஒருத்தரை கூட மிஸ் பண்ணக்கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லி தான் நினச்சேன். ஆனால் பாருங்கள், மணி 4:09 ஆயிடுச்சு, உங்கள் கை நடுங்க ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு. அதனால் நாம் இப்போது ரொம்ப சிம்பிளாக ஆனால் நன்றி உரை சொல்லி ஆகணும். ஆனால் ஒவ்வொரு இண்டிவிஜுவலும் இதுக்கு பின்னாடி ஏகப்பட்ட பேர் உழைச்சிருக்காங்க. எல்லாத்துக்கும் மானசீகமாக நன்றி. பட் அஃபிஷியலாக ஒரு குட்டி ஓட் ஆஃப் தேங்க்ஸ். ICSSRக்கு மிக்க நன்றி. பூசாக்கோ நிர்வாகத்திற்கு நன்றி. முதல்வர் முனைவர் டி. பிருந்தா அம்மா அவர்களுக்கும், செயலர் முனைவர் டி. கண்ணையன் ஐயா அவர்களுக்கும், துணை முதல்வர் முனைவர் ஏ. அங்கராஜ் ஐயா அவர்களுக்கும், காட்சி தொடர்பியல் துறை தலைவர் முனைவர் ஜி ராதா அவர்களுக்கும், ஏஓ சார் திரு மோகன் அவர்களுக்கும், இந்த நிகழ்வை மிக மிக உயிர்ப்புள்ளதாக மாற்றிய, அதற்கான தளம் அமைத்த சிறப்பு விருந்தினர்கள் இயக்குனர் சகோதரி பிரியா மேம் அவர்களுக்கும், பேராசிரியர் சகோதரர் அன்பு கைடு திரு டாக்டர் இளம்பிரதி ஐயா அவர்களுக்கும், பேராசிரியர் சகோதரர் சிறந்த எழுத்தாளர் திரு டாக்டர் இளங்கோ நடேசன் ஐயா அவர்களுக்கும், பேராசிரியர் சகோதரி சமூக செயல்பாட்டாளர் டாக்டர் உமா வாங்கல் அவர்களுக்கும், இந்த நிகழ்வை உயிர்ப்புள்ள தருணத்திற்கு மாற்ற நீண்ட உரையாடல்கள் மூலம், உங்களோட கருத்துக்கள் மூலம் இந்த 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 ஒன் டே செமினாரை ரொம்பவே லைவாக மாற்றின கலந்து கொண்ட உங்கள் ஒவ்வொருவருக்கும் அன்பின் நன்றி. இந்த நிகழ்வில் கலந்து கொண்ட அனைத்து திரைரசிகர்கள், யூஜி, பிஜி, ரிசர்ச் ஸ்காலர்ஸ், அகடமிஷியன்ஸ், ஃபில்ம் எந்தூசியாஸ்டிக் எல்லாருக்கும் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப நன்றி. எஸ்பெஷலாக விஷுவல் கம்யூனிகேஷன் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டில் இருக்க எல்லா ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்கும் நன்றி. ஸ்பெஷல் தேங்க்ஸ் டு 3rd VCA பாய்ஸ். தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச். மிக்க நன்றி.
I would request everyone to stand up for the national anthem. Thank you all. Please do collect the certificates from the backstage. Thank you. Everyone, the refreshments are set up at the back of the auditorium. Please go check it out.